YouTube, Facebook, and then special instructions for Facebook. And then we'll be hopefully on our way. Echo, echo. Pinch hitting. For the San Diego Padres. All right. Taylor Alison Swift. Day 4. I could have guessed it. Because it's basically a full-length portrait, 3/4. The only difference is there's no feet. And it's a double portrait because it's got a cat. And let's go. Feeling no pain after the Mets Division Series win against the Phillies. Let's see if we need to do anything here. Okay. What do we need to do? Now, when we left off yesterday, we had a couple of conversations going, but we were talking about finishing the head. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to do that today. I am going to do it today, but there's more to work on. If I zoom out and start looking around, I see problems. You see problems? Obviously, there's problems in the head. But I'm more looking at problems in the figure. So, not the figure, but, shapes are obviously all fine because we're just kind of painting by numbers. But, we just take this time to review and watch out for what's troubling. What's missing? What's too sharp? What's too soft? Okay? Already, I think there's something here that we should address. I think we're going to get in here and try to clean up this area. Let's see if that works for us. Definitely got a little more pop here. So let's see. Can we do it without messing things up? You can always kind of get away with a little more I don't know. So I think, for instance, We gotta smooth this stuff up. Okay. And this is really just about, we're kind of losing those edges, you know? No, I don't know what you're talking about. So, what I mean is, they're sharp edges, and now we're painting over them to make them soft. And then we're trying to, like, it's not just about making the hip pop more up. It's about making sure that the background hits correctly. So it's a little bit of both. And here's what we're going to do. I'm not happy with what just happened there. And rather than go down a giant rabbit hole, we're just going to remember what happened. Mixer brush. Huh? Oh, I see. Who cares? We got to do something. Oh boy, technical difficulties. All right, so we're softening edges too much there because we want a nice sharp pop of the hip, right? Sharp, sharp, sharp. And how do we do that? So we basically hold on here for one more day. Maybe Wilson Phillips will be next. Who else could we do? Roxette. All right, hip, hip, hip. Hip, hip, hooray. This part here. It's tricky business. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it today. That's not bad. It should be sharper. Should we go back and get that another time? I don't know. Or should we try to finish it up? It's like an accent there, right? You can see how the hip pops a little bit out. And then, if we really get in close, that's when maybe the magic happens. So, I don't know. That's fun. Okay. I don't know why that in particular caught my eye this morning, but I noticed something going on there. There's something about the depth of that line was not quite working for me. So now it is better. Let's go on our way. Let's get on our way here. Benjamin Button, the legend. We've got an interesting change in our environment today. The radiators are full blast today because it's probably under 50, right? Something like that. The radiators are on. The radiators. Okay. Never fear. Time to start painting our cat. That's all we can do. I like the edginess there. I like the I like the brush quality there. What I mean is, like, look at the fur on the cat. How it's kind of like blotchy and you see the canvas coming through. I like that quality, but I don't know for sure if I'm ready to keep that. So this is where things get tricky. If you look too close now, if you start trying too hard to spot the difference, you're going to go crazy and you're going to botch up your painting. And I think there's something to be said about the initial mistakes that one makes when they're painting. You got to hold on to those. You got to kind of embrace the errors and say, oh, yeah, of course that's wrong. That's the way it looks. It's cool. So that's what I tell myself anyway. Okay, let's do this. And yeah, you're gonna get into some problems, always. Stuff to solve. But the good news is, I don't know what the good news is. The good news is we might be happy with the result somewhat. So, once again, keep on keeping on. I will say that as far as I don't think I've ever been this productive with painting since my painting school years. When I didn't have the proverbial gun to my head with portrait commission fees looming. And even then, I don't think I necessarily would be working quite this consistently, because it's kind of like when you're working on a portrait of any kind, if you only have one to do and hey, this is my thing, this is my gig for the next month, you're not going to be always going in. You kind of want to savor it somewhat. Maybe that's subconscious. Okay. Look at all this stuff going on with the hair here. I know we talked about it a bit yesterday, but I want the world. I want the whole world. I want to wrap it all up in my pocket. It's my bar of chocolate. Give it to me now. Pardon. Yep, da-da-da-da, da-ba-da-ba-ba-da. Now, guys, we're going to have to do something interesting here soon, which is my old layers technique. And I don't know exactly when we're going to do it, but it's going to happen. Give it to me. Whoops. So we're starting earlier. I feel for our buddy who signed on yesterday at the end. I told them that we were going to be working from 9 to noon. That was a ruse. Not intentional, but so not a ruse at all. But more like a mea culpa, because I have some things that I have to do today on deadline that are not Taylor Swift, but it's okay. We're going to... Gosh, this sort of fluffy. So meanwhile, in the NL West, we had the Dodgers helmed, well, I don't know who was leading the show last night, but they walloped the Padres after quite a bit of back and forth. And they're not done yet. They're not done yet. He's not done yet. So here's what I want to understand. When there's such an extreme shift from light to dark as there is here, how can we blur that edge sufficiently without it showing up funny? You tell me. And now here's another question for you. Are you interested at all in... oh, wait a minute. Cass. I'm so glad I stopped over to YouTube, because You may be among our first live chatters. Thank you. Cass says, yo, impressive. Thank you. That is my response. I appreciate your feedback, and we got a long ways to go, but maybe we can wrap this up today. Thanks for stopping in. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the chat. And I'm sorry I missed your... If I missed you, I'm sorry about that. I don't have any notifications on for when somebody chats over there. So I'm going to try and leave a bit of a window open for that possibility. And you tell me if, whatever. I'm psyched. Thank you. Now, what else can we do here? I know I'm flagging, but so kitty cat, how do you do? Here I am. No. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow. All right, clunky on the toes. I like the toes. I mean, it looks like kind of art. It looks like I'm sort of getting a little bit better at leaving edges where they are and not obsessing. But you can never be too whatever. You can't be too careful. So part of what I'm trying to do is learn how to paint in a painterly manner. And we talk about this all the time. Painterly, but not too painterly, right? It's that subtle edge. And then, hopefully, when I learn how to paint in a not too painterly manner, I'm going to try and get back into the studio and do some painting from life for you all on the stream. Wouldn't that be fun? I think it would be. Be scary. But I think we can do it. Yeah. So, goodness gracious. That's exciting. That's kind of a shot in the arm of adrenaline this morning to know that someone tuned into YouTube live and was like, whoa, nice. Cool. Now, yeah, we can get rid of all this stuff. Here I am. How do you do? So, look, over here we've got this little joint here. I don't know what it is, but it's certainly there. There's a bit of a kitty cat joint that pops in there. Then there's another one here. Okay, and by using our accents, some painters love to get the accent colors perfect. I do, as well. But guess what? It's never going to happen. Because look at all this. We got little shooky kitty cat hairs that come through and blend one from the other. Okay? I don't know if that makes any sense. But yeah, what else is going on? I went over to the ice rink yesterday with my boy, and we did some ice skating. That was fun. They've rearranged the games room area in the snack bar over there. And so that's exciting. We often play Galaga when we're in there. And yeah, that's what we did yesterday. And we did ice skating. Roller skating. Did I say ice skating? It's an ice skating rink in Brooklyn. But in the summer months, it is a roller skating rink. And yeah. Check it out if you're in the area. It's fun. Okay, we're gonna see these little blendings of fur that come across. You want to make that soft. You want to make it look soft. And how do you blur that edge? I don't know. The answer is you just keep trying. And then at a certain point you'll say, okay, it looks like the edge that I want. I'm going to actually, while I'm working on this, blur that edge. Yeah, we'll have to get back there at another point. Okay. What's edgiest now? First of all, there's a lot of edginess going on right here. Look at this blurriness. Look at the a lot of this is just, there's really, I find when I'm talking about what I'm doing here, it depends on what you're painting. Like, if you're painting something like cat fur, I will say it's a little tricky to come up with descriptions of what the heck I'm doing, because it's like, okay, this other little fluffy cat fur cloud, it's all just becomes this abstract mess around these parts. But when you get into the whiskers, look what happens. Yes, you need to paint up into the whiskers. But right now the whiskers look too crazy, like they're like, it's like they have ice crystals attached to them or something. So let's, to that end, get in there and get rid of the ice crystals. So how did we do that? We take our dark brush and we attempt to sharpen, actually. Often we're trying to soften edges, but now we have this lovely opportunity to sharpen and find a sharp edge. And we zoom out and we hope it looks good. Here's another one. Mr. Benjamin Button. I hope I got that right. Da-da-da-da-dum. What the heck just happened? Okay. We'll zoom in here and we have this lovely opportunity to place a sharp edge there. Never pass up an opportunity to blast in an accent. I am going to try to share something here, which is me channel. And I don't know how to do it, but let me try it here. Share link to share a link to my pal and see if he'll join. Because copy, and we get to see if we can get Scary Harry out here. We'll rustle him up. WhatsApp. Okay, sorry. Kitty cat, where are you? I was just wondering if anybody what was I wondering? I guess what I'm thinking about is I don't have a lot of time to watch streams these days, but I really need to. I'm noticing things about other people's streams that I don't have and I need. Like, for example, one of the things that I would like is to have a kind of fanfare type thing that happens when somebody, I don't know, does anything. Or, I mean, and that's cool. We've talked about why that's not particularly necessary at this stage in my streaming career. But the other thing that comes to mind is, what about like guest hosts? I noticed on somebody's stream that they had a guest, like kind of a student type person, maybe, who was like asking questions. Now, my idea was to get other painters from the classical realism world to come on here and chit chat, and not just the classical realism world, but whatever, just artists. So anyway, something that I thought would be helpful to have, like, some live banter going on, and I think that would be a good use of the technology here. I'm, meanwhile, gonna get in here. You see how I'm getting so timid. I'm feeling a little timid about this painting. And I think part of why that is because the actual subject here is quite delicate in a way. It's not like Bob Ross, where there's splatterhouse paint everywhere, and yes, you have that in the hair, but the sort of perfectly groomed cat fur, it's intimidating, and you're like, if I don't, how do you get so swift? How do you paint in such a deft manner, I guess, is what has me, because I want to finish it, I want it to be done, but excuse me, I guess you can't rush these things, especially when they're delicate like that. And I mean, it could take me a whole day to really refine the cat. So we're here, and we're gonna keep it going. Okay. Let's see. Here, it's paint by numbers. Okay, let's just do it. Paint by numbers, spot the difference, whatever you want to call it. I just found something critical. Nice little blotch of cat fur there that needs to be placed, and then it wraps under. Is this one? Yeah, that's fine. And I'll take a little fur from here. And I've just invited my friend who is an artist. I don't know if he saw the invite, but I'm hoping to get him out here and chit-chatting with us a little bit. He's an artist and a musician, and he does sometimes both at the same time, which is exciting. And he's got... I've noticed he has... over the years, we've talked about collaborating on various things, and in our art school days, we made up all kinds of funny scenarios and jokes. And it would be a riot if we could get that guy on here. And then the other thing that I thought was we co-wrote a song, actually, entitled Cat Problems. And I think that would be fitting, given their subject matter here today. If we could maybe do a little behind the music. And if you're interested in viewing Cat Problems, just DM me and I can give you a free a link to share. We're not charging for CDs or anything like that. But it's a funny song, I think. Yeah, everybody has cat problems when you think about it. Not to be confused with cat power. Cat problems. All right, let's see what they said here. Be fine. Horizontal. Okay. So it is now 9:30. Oh, good. I'm glad I got an email here. The Mets have advanced to the National League Championship Series. They will be there. I will not be there in person, but I'll be watching. I almost just did a So anyway, let's get in here and just, a lot of what I'm doing is just procrastinating that there's hard work to be done. So I'm like, oh, somebody distract me. Harry, where are you? Anybody in the YouTubes? But, it's hard work, and it just has to be done. So, there's another one. So look, sometimes what we can do is pull white paint and blend it in there. How's that? Kind of looking nice from a distance. There's a little dark splotchy. And come crawling. So look at this. Yeah, a lot of the hair questions and problems are solved with blurring and blending. So gosh. You really just got to clean up all this little stuff here. You know? How do I live without you? Or how can I live without you? I don't know. Interesting. Okay, so let me try to describe, if it's of any interest or help, what I'm doing here with the hair. Like, why am I just fiddle-faddling back and forth with the cat hair? Okay, good question. The cat hair stuff, the particular cat problem that I'm facing right now is that you're faced with you are faced with, oh my gosh, it's too hard to, I'm too scared. Okay. Let me explain what's happening here, if I could. If I may, you have to see the cat hair as a series of lights and darks, just like everything else. The difference with cat fur, not that there's really should be a difference, but the shadows are extremely bright. You can't just lose your shadows, if that makes any sense. In other words, you cannot hide in the shadows, because even if it's a shadow on white fur, you still see the fur. When you're painting dark, when you're painting with black, there's no, you can't really see what's going on. So you don't have to obsess whether, that's placed right or this is placed right. Like, look at her leotard here. Like, the shadows there don't really get seen, and I don't care if I painted them wrong or not. With a shadow on a white fur, you're done. I mean, you have to address these little shifts in tone, right? So yes, you can just knock it down, but you got to knock them down strategically. And so, here, let's just BS our way through a lot of those and then zoom out and see if it's any better. Not yet. And look what they did. Like, look at what, by the way, the biggest problem here is these cat problems. Look. One cat problem. Yeah, basically, look at what happens when you attempt to you're trying to find it's tough. Hard to explain. What else can I say about it? Not much right now, because I'm busy. Very busy painting. So look, you can't just put in white. It's white with these subtle shifts in value, especially as you come over this direction. You got let's get our darks, and then we can just blur these edges as they come down. I don't know. We could probably get away with that. And look at this edge here. See? Watch how the chin actually melts into the lights underneath. See that? And it's our job to find out where that river of light passes through. So there it is. Now, when we make it pass through, we start to see that, we didn't quite address how light it is under the chin of that special fuzzy friend's chin. Okay. There's the kitty's chin. It's all about expression too, You can't be too careful. You got to get the subtle expression. I will say that I am guilty when painting animals of not particularly getting into the psychology so much of the animals. Now, I don't know whether that's because they don't have psychology in the same way that people do, or that maybe I don't speak their, I can't identify it very well. But I think what I'm saying is, if a cat's looking angry, you'll probably know because they're going like, but if they're just sort of the difference between, Taylor's sultry mood and a smiling face, that's going to be huge. It's going to show, it's going to register. But with a cat, you don't really get that kind of subtle psychology showing up on their face. At least I don't see it. So, in a way, I guess I'm sort of treating the head of the cat like a I'm doing my best to get the shapes right, but it's not critical for the kind of, when you're painting a person, it's like, oh, does it look like me? And is my expression nice? That's often what people want to think about when they see a portrait of themselves. They're like, how did he make me look? How did that artist describe me? Is it, yes, okay, sure, top priority, make it look like the person. But then within that, you start to wonder, is it flattering? And almost the better it gets, the better the painting is, the more hypnotic those facial expressions are, and kind of you can start to see differences in oh, she looks sad or something like that. Hang on. These brushes are so small, oh God, that they're not even like picking up. So, did any of that make sense, what I was just saying? On a cat, like, look, if I'm looking at what's wrong with the cat, like right now, if I look at Taylor, it's like, ugh, that's so scary. Her eyebrow has like an extra slash mark on it, and her mouth is like, looks like a monster. Whereas the cat, you're kind of like, yeah, the cat looks like a cat. Even though, ew, you could say the same thing. Ew, look at the eyelid on the right. Like, it doesn't have blah, blah, blah coming up, because so much information is lost in the fur. Like, look, the eyebrow on the right actually has color there. But there are cats that we've seen who maybe don't have a patch of color right over their eyelid. That's not this cat, but we don't know that cat. You know what I mean? We don't really know Benjamin Button because we don't see her on the cover of every magazine. We do now, but, I think what I'm saying is with humans, first of all, they don't have fur to kind of like hide their bone structure and everything. So you can never confuse one, you can't confuse one human for another. That's just the way like our own facial recognition software works. It's darn good. Our human ability to recognize faces is great. So, although with cats, who had so let's dig our way back in. Watch what happens here. Some of this is so subtle. Like, look, there's a nice little furry bit here that connects. And then there's a nice little furry bit here that connects down. And we can kind of BS this stuff because it's a cat. And we're going to read it like, oh, he painted the cat well. But if that cat happens to be Taylor Swift, you can't just get away with leaving a random likeness there. Like, it'll pass as a human for sure. But is it going to pass as Taylor? That is another question. And if you screw up the expression, because people can control their muscles. Cats sort of can, but it's not the same psychology that you're dealing with people. Anyway, just some interesting comparisons between. But I'm so used to when I'm painting anybody's face, be it feline or human, I'm so used to kind of being extremely analytical and critical and sort of these are their features, that it's hard to shake that habit with an animal, even though it would save me time and it's not worth getting the likeness 100%. It's just hard to shake that habit. I don't know if that, again, if I'm just yapping and babbling or... Hang on a sec. We're getting inundated. I knew this would happen. I don't really want to deal with that right now. I'm busy. Okay. Yet again, how far over does that go? These are the questions that plague the painter of cats. How far over the main patches, All right, speaking of painting cats, how about herding cats? Herding cats. Hold on. All right, no news is good news. So, moving along. This is one of those days because I'm hesitant. I'll be honest. I'm hesitant to plow forward on this one, and I don't know why. It's just a mood. A mood. Moods are things for cattle. Cattle? As in cat? Okay. Streaming it up. This is one of those days. Oh boy. Okay. Guys. Oh, come on now. Pardon me. No, thank you. So, Master of kitties. Pulling your strings. Oh gosh, no. Twisting your mind and smashing your dreams. Blinded by me, you can't see a thing. Just call my name, 'cause I'll hear you meow. Master. Look, I mean, it's all just a matter of again, is anybody going to really care if you get the shirt correct here or not? No. I mean, maybe that area we worked on at the beginning of the session would be recognizably incorrect or not. But at any rate, so I think what we're going to do, like, part of me is just unfortunately at this point where I'm like, what can we do? What can we really do here to improve upon this, to make it more interesting? And I will just say that I kind of like the way the cat works. I don't have a big problem with anything else. You know, I kind of maybe overdid the hip bone, but that's not, nobody's going to complain about that, right? Is everything else done? Yeah. Let's get in here. Finish up the head. All right, folks. Here it is. The big one. This is the big finish here. And we're not going to make a big deal out of it, right? All we're doing is just the same old stuff. I don't want to... Oh, yeah, now I'm going to start sounding like a whatever, but I've been watching a lot of this baseball stuff, and what I find so interesting is that they are amazing at, you know, to just blow it big time. And then the next thing you know, they have to get up and keep going. And that's kind of what happens in painting. Although, you know, if you're super sensitive and whatever, I mean, everybody's sensitive. I hate that term, but I get like, I'm spoiled, you know, like I want results. And if it doesn't work out right away, I can see myself throwing little tantrums. And, you know, I admire those guys who are doing that on a world stage. Hang on, what's this? Somebody reposted my TikTok video. I hope it was cat problems. I think maybe one day we're just going to stop with all of this. Whoa. That scared me. All right, forget it. We're not watching TikTok right now. Somebody reposted my video. That's fun. All right, so we've got everything we need down here. That's the beauty of digital painting, is that it's all there. Okay. Blur the edge. Come on in here. Where is our buddy? Do you remember Screen Ghost mentioned? The importance of getting the mouth right. So here we are. Early on in this process, we lost an hour of our work. And that, talk about a tantrum, that made me upset. Even though I tried to pretend like it wasn't a big deal, I tensed up and I got scared. And it just happens because you get some good work done and you're like, yeah, like I'm done with that. But then you have to do it again. And our pal pointed out some issues with the mouth. Basically, it doesn't look quite right. Didn't look quite right. All right, let's do what we always do. Go back to the fundamentals. And by fundamentals, I mean it's a little bit of an annoying situation happening here because there's sunlight blasting through my window, which normally wouldn't be annoying to any normal person, but For a portrait painter, you don't want that. You want clean, consistent light. Okay. T Swift. Can we get it? Can we do it? Help me try to do it. I think we can do it very well. Little bits at a time. I think one of the big problems is that I'm hearing this constant ding dong of my stupid phone. Jeez Louise, look at this. Oh my God. I don't know. Nobody to blame but myself, right? So I think another thing that came to mind when I was watching another artist stream was, how do they play music on their streams without getting the VOD crackdown? I know we've sort of touched on this point before here, but oh man, this is just a disaster. I've got light blasting through here and I can't freaking see. Get out of here. Blame it on the rain. Ooh, 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 I love you. Yeah, no, I can't. I need to now set up some kind of block here. Oh my God almighty. Here we go. Ridiculous. Okay. Is that really gonna cut it? And it's gonna fall down in the middle of the thing. My God. Sorry, folks. Forgive that little tantrum. This is nuts, man. I'm having a tough time. I don't have my S together. I'm scared. I'm scared. So one of the things that's cool about this sight size method is that what we're trying to do is by flicking our eye back and forth, and here I am in my comfort zone of portrait. Actually, it's funny that portrait is the easiest thing for me to paint because that's what I spent so much time practicing painting. And painting clothes and cats and everything is just like, it's so much harder than this stuff that I have a lot of practice on, which is face. So, but still, it's not easy to paint the face. You have to pay attention, and you have to know what you're doing. You need training. But one of the things that is helpful about painting the head... dude. Yes, Lindor's amazing swing for the fences. The guy hit a grand slam. It's awesome. That I don't mind being interrupted to be reminded of that. So, what was I saying? What we're going to do is we're going to try to, in these last moments, clean up all the edges, just like the cleanup song. Clean up, everybody, everywhere. Clean up. Like Augie said. All right, here we go. I'm going to take this. And we're going to take this. We don't want gray, we want this is a rough day, I'll be honest. Did I get enough sleep? I don't know. So there, if we zoom out, we start to see, well, Chris, did you do this part? And is this part in need of a coax? And how about this part? And on and on and on. So you get the idea. You zoom out, you clean up edges, you find where you've left gray squirtles. That's an industry term. No, it's not. Just kidding. But the gray popping through, we'll call them squirtles. For now, just a little. And you just have to hold on, and trust. When you're in a slump, which I feel like I am a little bit, you just have to trust that you can pull out of it. And okay, so last time we were on this portrait, we cleaned up areas over here, and that was satisfactory. But now we need to clean them up again. Kitty cat, kitty cat. Okay. So if we grab those nice darks, this is ridiculous. I'm so tired of this. I think it's going to be time. I'm like losing my patience with digital paint. That was the dark I wanted, okay? Not some other dark. I wanted that one. Tantrum time engaged. Tantrum mode engaged. You know, you can't. First of all, we need to go back into the kitty real quick. Kitty cat, kitty cat. Because I felt like we were going to notice that if we didn't. There. Better? Yeah. And then, how about this? How about this? How about that? Now, always important is to find, let's get into our drawing here. And pluck out these darks. Okay. Ridiculous. Did we ever end up painting the eyelashes? No, we didn't. So, do we have to? Yes, we do. Do we dare? Well, yeah, you want to finish this one? You have to. Let's go. Let's go, Mets. This is hard. No doubt. It's a lot like losing your grip a little bit, because I don't know. Why does it feel like that? We never really got this dark shape moving down and across. There's seriously some highlights going on here that we don't have. We gotta find ways. Is this like, are we leading up towards spam month or something? Like what? I'm guessing there's some kind of push for fundraising, or not that I've ever given money to anything, but they don't stop. All right, I'm going to take this pink tonality, bring it in here with my bristles. God, this may be the first time in a while that I have to take a do-over, and I blame it all on my day one time-lapse fail. Zoom out, zoom in. It's just like a breathing exercise. Goodness. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. You can't take a deep breath out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Okay, so look, we knew it was going to be hell when we got into Taylor's face. We'd left so many things unresolved. Who was I kidding, you know? But that's still no excuse to leave things like this. So after a series of kind of get a hold of yourself deep breaths, we're going to start trying to carve in here. So get a hold of yourself. Deep breath in, deep breath out. We can carve into this I. And find out why. And especially when you're working on these little areas, I mean, God bless surgeons, because you imagine like, oh yeah, I'm feeling off today. I lost my patient yesterday. I mean, and here I am whining and whimpering about, I lost my time lapse 3 days ago. So I don't know how they do that, but it's outstanding. Nobody's losing their life over this one. But sometimes, you know, if that's all you got and you're working on it, it feels like that. Feels like do or die. Okay. We're going to blur. Why does this edge need to be so edgy? We can it's a good photo. I mean, that's what else can I say? Take this one. Grab some of this over here. Zoom in here. Zoom that in, zoom this in. Okay, what else can be done here? So one thing that I'm seeing is over here, there's a lot of light, just a little light. I have always been. I'm going to get some 80s Grateful Dead here. That would be a good way, potentially, to get over the music thing, is by playing music that no one wants to hear. Now, You'd think that no one would want to hear the Legend of Zelda theme song over and over again, but somehow they were able to get a copyright violation going there. Thanks to the DJ whose nickname I like but will not repeat in this family-friendly environment. Okay. Here's what we did. We're going to blend and blur. Oh, geez. Oh, my God. Stop it. I did not do that. All right, look in the corner of the eye. There's darks there that don't need to be there. And they're reading. All this stuff reads like serious problems. Like, if that's reading like that, what do we think that is? Just like a black blot on her eye? Like, that's not gonna cut it. So here, like, just the fact is, like, look at, what's his name? Our buddy Bob Ross. Like, that guy's face is half covered with a beard. Taylor is like, almost I would say, like, sort of hard to say whether this is Photoshop or not, but whatever it is, it's perfect, it's perfectly, there's no room to hide. Every area of her face has been I don't know. There's nothing. You mess up one little halftone and you're done, and you lose the likeness. So we're a long way away from that. But here's an example. Get that in there. Place it. Stand back. Double check. Look, we got highlights. I don't know where exactly they go, but I know they're living around there somewhere. And thank you to, once again, Screen Ghost for their feedback on the mouth. Should have taken that more seriously sooner. But here we are, we're cleaning it up. Now the highlight, and now the dark as it. I mean, look, I would say if anything's particularly photoshopped here, it's the gloss, the coloration on the lip. It's like they put extra lipstick on her in post. My goodness. This is a tough one, folks. Tater Tot, Taylor Swift. Let's just keep it going. Blur together. Edges that blur together. Something together. Gosh. Better to blur than something. Can we come up with some fancy there we did this. Certainly we have a better highlight on our hands here. Like, look. Let's do that one. Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift. Taylor Swiftie, Taylor Swiftie. All right, I feel a little safer. I mean, I got into some. I don't think I ever really wanted to get into all this. I've been avoiding it. Scary Larry. Here. Scary Larry, Scary Larry. Scary Larry, Scary What can we do? We can continue. We can do this. Watch. We can find a hint of find out where we're wrong. Where did we go wrong? And then find this and make it right again. Right as rain. Zeldavania. Dude. It's it really depends. This one is a nightmare. And for all kinds of reasons. But yeah, I'm trying to get my speed up, but there's just no getting around it. This one's hard to do. And that's because of the kitty cat and because of like the refinement in the features. Like she's no Bob Ross. You know, you can hide mistakes in the beard and get away with them much better than you can on a sort of, you know, perfect beauty like Taylor, or whatever. You know, we're looking at happy mistakes, unhappy mistakes in my situation. Yeah, with Bob, you get away with murder. But with Taylor, I sort of am. I don't know. It's great to have you in the chat, and I'm in like my. I'm in my depression era over this one. I lost an hour of the time lapse on Monday, and I'm still crying about it. So I had to reboot, and I lost stuff about the head that was nice. And now I'm struggling. But, you know, there's nothing a little elbow grease can't solve. Yeah, what happened, I don't know if you were asking about the time lapse, but yeah, on Monday I spent an hour not recording, or maybe it was Tuesday. I think it was like day 2 or something. I forget when. But I spent an hour not recording. And so I had to start over that session. It didn't mean that, and so instead of moving on to a different area of the painting, I foolishly said, I can just get back what I just did. And really, psychologically, it was more damaging to me than I'd imagined. Because I was kind of like, I can do exactly what I had. It's not lost. I'll just do it. And it's never the way it is. You can never get back those moments of kind of presence that you had when you were working on something the same. So the point is, you have to totally reboot, and you have to say, this is a different painting now. So, but yeah, I'm still crying. And I knew she was trouble when she walked in, because this kitty cat, like, look, I mean, what the heck? You're going to paint that? How am I going to do that? And then, there's a lot of anatomy that I'm not really used to painting. It's been a while. So anyway, lots of excuses. And my hope is, yes, to finish the painting by week's end, but sometimes I even try to get them done more quickly. But I don't know. I think it's going okay. It's going better than it was. Let's dive in here and find out why and where our teeth, the teeth. It's like that one. Oh boy. No, that's not what I meant. You know what we need is, no. Oh my God. There, blurred together. The cat is fine. The hand is awesome. I think everything is great. The only thing I'm seeing is the lower left quadrant of her mouth. Oh yeah, thanks, Reestland. We have lots of problems. I left the head till the end in the interest of making the time lapse. It was an experiment. Basically, I was thinking that if I left the head unfinished, that might encourage viewers to say, is he going to paint the head? Like, is he going to leave that weird stuff there? And it was weirder today. Like, if you look at the end of yesterday, or the whole week, really, I've left chunks of the canvas, like, bleeding through. And so, yeah, it's also got to do with the size and everything. The eyes, anyway, like, today was meant to be my last day working on the head, or my big day working on the second phase of the head. And that's where I'm at. But, and I was just saying to Zeldavania that I lost an hour of work on the time lapse, and that made me, I've been whining about that since Tuesday. So, oh, nice, look, a little accent that actually worked. I'm not going to leave that there like that, but that's a good It's a good thing. I can blur that down now, but it's better than nothing. Here, and then here. At one point, it looked like she had a tiger-striped jacket. Where do you mean? Oh, yes. Yes. I left. That was another thing I wanted to do, is leave the stripes along the torso, like sort of brushy stuff, so people are like, whoa, cool, it's a painting. And, it's like, I'm just like playing with the psychology of somebody watching the time lapse. And I realized that what I was doing was I was finishing the head first. And then what reason does anybody have to stick around? They're just like, oh, I get it. And then he finishes it. What I want is to leave the viewer saying, she looks like a monster. Like, that's not good. And so they stick around. This is my hypothesis. Because you know what encouraged me? On the first day of this one, somebody said, I can tell it's going to look great. Like, wow. And when you leave the chunks, when you leave the gray canvas coming through, but get the rest of it right, people know. They're like, it looks like her, but there's like chunks that you didn't do yet. You know what I'm saying? So when somebody said that to me, I thought, yes, that's it. You want it to look like it's correct, but you don't want it to be correct yet. You want the fun is in watching it unfold, I think, in the time lapse. So that's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, part of that was, who is it? Lady Gaga? Yeah, it's like a sort of, you lift the... Exactly. Who could this possibly be? And I didn't really do it properly, and that was sort of that might have had something to do with why it just hasn't been a fun process for me, this one. It's been a struggle, but it's like you're learning a lot, and not to mention anatomy, like painting legs, painting hands. It's never fun. You just look at the top corner of the top lip on the right. Lots happening. The eyes are undeveloped. The Masked Singer. Exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking. It was how to spice up the time lapses. Like, of course you have the music going. But also we had good feedback yesterday, like about stuff going on with the mouth, and so I think the left, definitely the shadow on the mouth needs to be adjusted, but like if you look now at the lip on the right, that's popping up too much. And what I think is happening, like here, let's get really tight in here. When you're up close painting in real life, this is basically how big your brushes have to be. And then you do your best to kind of approximate what you think needs to be done. Okay, like this, and then let's get a dark too. clean this up. It's all, just cleaning, pushing. And then from a distance, better, but look at the teeth. You got big problems with the teeth. And is it because I have my, oh, Jesus. No, let's get in here. The teeth. And as we were saying, when you're painting Bob Ross, you can make as many happy accidents as you want because half his face is covered by a beard. And this is someone who's extremely well manicured. Manicured? That's not... groomed. And the cat, don't get me started on Benjamin Button over there. This cat has been probably received multiple blow dries before the shoot. And so, I don't know, I can leave it choppy somewhat, but the more I got into it, the more I was like, the whole thing is just a big production. And it's much harder to do than I thought. But hopefully in this last time lapse, in this last couple hours of time lapse, we're going to see at least it'll be, if anyone watches to the end, it'll be, I don't know. I'm inspired by the photo to make it as... So here's what I'm going to do. The lash lines here, we got to get this stuff blurring in. So that's my underdrawing, actually. And I'm going to start to peel across the lash line. All right, now we're looking for any things like this, like highlights. These are the sparkly highlights that appear on the lid line, and you need to get them correct. So we can put them here. No. Come down here. Not there. God dang it. There. Okay, so probably not correct. But, sorry, we're making everybody dizzy. But this is where it just comes more and more. Corporate graphic design. So, did anybody... What was the finale? I went to sleep, I forget what time, but it looks like the Dodgers put up a lot more runs. Was any of that... actually, no, Shohei didn't seem to do too much more. I did see that he only got... Yeah, the Padres seem to throw in the towel. Yeah. And then it's back in LA. Is that usually good for them? I mean, I fear for the Padres outfield now when they're back. Or actually, I feel for like the Dodgers fans being seduced by Fernando. They lure him into a kind of sports ball. Oh, well, yeah, especially now with the exciting division series and wild cards. I think the Padres thrive when they're misbehaving and stirring up the crowd and the opponents. Yeah, right. That's the problem. They're like sort of evil. Orlando Octoroks versus the Boston Moblins. That would be nice to get, to do a GIF, to take the original Nintendo baseball and put in Zelda sprites of Moblins and Octoroks. Or is that golf? Or the same sound effects? Hyrule Warriors. Okay, let's see what's going on with this eyebrow on the left. I think for me personally, the only time I've come close to feeling the excitement of an athletic competition is when facing my own personal best at the Zelda speed run. It's like, because I've never actually been competing in an athletic event with any serious consequences, it's like I started to, when you have that adrenaline pumping and you're in level 9 and all hell's breaking loose, it's like you really get a feel for how crazy it is what these guys are doing. And having to keep their hands still and all that. You don't have that with paintings because you can always just throw it. If you're painting, you just throw a tantrum and, I'll come back to this another time. But, really that kind of, the speed run thing is the closest I've come to personally experiencing that kind of, because it's like all or nothing, like if you choke in level 9, you're starting over again. I had a cool dream where I was playing a ROM hack of Zelda 1 where you hit a big ball around the screen and you had to bring it with you every screen while fighting enemies, bouncing it into cave entrances and doors, like some billiards or golf Zelda ball. Wow. It's interesting because, like, especially when you're like in the overworld, at a certain point, who was it that was saying this? Like, you should just ignore 99% of the overworld enemies. I think that was maybe Slackerer that was telling me that advice. And if you just ignore them and move quickly, you never even have to face them. So I like your game. Yeah, but your game turns that on its head. You know, it's like you not only do you have to, you may want to try to ignore enemies, but there's a ball bouncing around that you have to bring with you. It just intensifies the challenge. Now, did you go, were there any underworld scenes in the dream, like where you could see, what was it like when you were in a dungeon? Like, I could imagine having to, like defend yourself against, well, I guess Goma is a little bit like that, where Goma is like the pitcher. Or you're the pitcher, I don't know. When he's going back and forth, and you have to know which direction he's going. Like, that's the cool thing about the speed run, is that people have figured all this stuff out for you. So I would never have known that all you have to do is unlock, all you have to do is do a menu. You menu to your arrows when you walk in the room, and so you can see Goma moving left and right. Yeah, ricocheting everywhere. Yeah. I saw someone yesterday beat part of a super ghouls and ghosts stage that takes everyone so many deaths because of the enemies. He just ran right through it, avoiding the enemies. Nice. That's satisfying. What was that? Speaking of Zeldavania, last night I was watching like a Super Metroid glitches video dedicated to all the glitches in Super Metroid. And in the introduction, they talked about its influence, the game's influence on the genre and everything. And they showed what appeared to be, it was like, they were like, this game, along with this game, spawned the Metroidvania, so basically, and which game was that? It was, I can't remember what it was, but it was like, it was like someone's quest, it was like one of the original, it wasn't a Super Nintendo Castlevania. It looked a little more advanced than that. But it, do you know what game that might have been? Where it was like really good graphics, but still it was like, I almost want to say it was like it was like Sega CD, or what's that one? What's the Sega system that came out? That Sega Saturn. Was there any Castlevania on Sega Saturn? What would that have been? Anyway, it got me thinking it would be fun. I hear different things. One guy was saying Castlevania ruined things by trying to be more like Metroid. Yeah. And when did they do that? Like, because the one where I don't know much about Castlevania, but I can remember basically things like when the game where it turns nighttime, and that's when like Vampire Killer, the song, is like most heavily featured. I don't know. It's like that's that's the last time I played Castlevania. Those Konami tracks. But what they were showing in this video was much more like advanced. Not since I was like 10 or 11 playing that one. The nighttime one is my favorite, when it like turns night. That thing is cool. Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. Yeah, that's the one. And someone on this in this video was talking about a CV2 randomizer. Oh, cool. Corner of eye. Darn it. That's not what I wanted there. Definitely need some more blue in those eyes. Let's hit this though while we're at it. It's been so long since I saw you play. Did you do rando? No. No. But so what I started doing was I was playing on my Game & Watch, and I had much more success. I actually PB'd on that much more easily than I do with I know that this is not true, but I just feel that the input lags were becoming annoying, and it was like, and I know people can do it without, but I started to feel like a little dejected, like I couldn't quite it just, it's a lot sweeter when you can go in and not have to worry about, I don't know. There's something about the Game & Watch experience which is much cleaner. Maybe not screen scrolling, but I was never really at a point where screen scrolling was going to move the clock, move the needle, but certainly like just banging my head against level 2 over and over again. And again, level 2 is not gonna, but I don't know, things like even getting to level 1 when you're running around or getting the white sword, anyway, I'm still a noob and I need to get back to it, and I will, but I'm just kind of, there's not enough hours in the day, as Charlie's mom would say. How about you? What have you been up to have you been streaming games? Yeah, I think we're going to have to probably come in here again and do this head tomorrow. You're probably an ideal speedrunner, very calm. The best runners are super chill. Well, I'm not, honestly. At one point, in the Ganon zone, I was like, what the? Can you hear this? My heart rate? Like, I thought that my heart was beating so loud that I thought that people could hear it through the mic. And that did not bode well for Wizrobes attacking. But I guess once you get through that, who knows? I don't know if the anxiety ever abates as you get better at a game. I'm sure it does, but actually I know it does, because I used to be scared out of my mind in Gliok. And over time I was just like, oh, if I just calm down. So, but yeah, I think maybe I seem chill, but I'm definitely edgy. But I hear you. There's like this guy in the Zelda speedrunning group, Epi, who is very calm, and he just melts PBs. It's not all. Yeah, I don't know. Use one of those heart rate monitors. I did that, and it wasn't a good one. It wasn't a high quality one. It was like my Fitbit, and because my tendons were pushing the buttons, it was reading like a heart rate thing. Anyway, I definitely wanted to get into that more, though. That was fun. All right, so I'm flicking my eyes back and forth, trying to find where my had you mentioned some art streams recently that you like to watch? Who was mentioning those? Because I'm kind of interested in potentially sitting down and doing some exploration of the art stream world, because I want to pull some ideas. I went to one yesterday or a couple of days ago where I saw somebody had a guest. So Riestland was saying get a guest in, and that's a great idea, like a special guest. And they had we gotta paint this across. Something like that. Better. And now really we can start to clean up. Queen up, everybody, everywhere. Queen up, everybody do your share. Tonally, totally tonally. Yep, that's a problem. Being an artist on Twitch is so underappreciated. Hang on. Use one of the... yeah, I follow a few artists, but they're mainly doing digital cartoon stuff. Lady Galaga. Yes, Lady Galaga does real painting, landscapes. Being an artist on Twitch is so underappreciated. So I guess what's weird is that there are so many artists. There's so many videos that are art. That's sort of why I stream here. But yeah, I guess I've noticed similar. They say that you could have a lot of followers potentially, but not a lot of like viewers. And I don't know if that's why that would be, but like I look at my stats, and for sure when I'm speedrunning Zelda, the average viewership is way up compared to this. And that makes sense because there's something people, you know, you're entertained all the time. This is like a very slow burn. Nope. I chopped the eyebrow down too much. Get back into any game fantasy characters. Yeah. I think I'm going to do my Samus sooner than later. And I think sort of collaborate with, potentially collaborate with like cosplayers. Like I want to find the best cosplayer in the world and do a portrait of them with their kind of permission, sort of like, you know, with their endorsement, so to speak. And do a kind of photorealism. I don't know. All right. Very cool. There's something. Yes. Yes, I am. I follow a streamer who's a big Metroid fan. She'll wear the helmet while playing as a redeem. Nice. I found a great series of photos of a Samus cosplay that was so awesome. And I'm actually part of like a Facebook group called like Samus Cosplay Squad, I guess. No, that's definitely not looking like her, but it's getting there. We have to do a couple of things. One is, look at this dark, the gray canvas coming through. Gotta block that out. And then, even more importantly, perhaps, is where, this. Look, it's nice to have a sharp edge here, but it's exaggerated. And then we have problems with our highlight patrol. Highlight patrol coming in here. Let's go. Okay, we're going to hit these highlights. Hit them hard and then zoom out. That scared me. Here, and then we'll start to blur this edge into the highlights if we could. Really crafting. Looks like a Vogue cover. Definitely. It's a Time magazine cover, but totally looks like a Vogue cover. And she doesn't, I don't have the likeness quite yet. I think as you start to refine something like this, you go through periods where you're just like, nah, I'm losing it. Like, the more it looks like her, the more any tiny shift can cause a meltdown. We'll see that play out. But it's all the more reason to, like, maybe do a day 6 on this, or a day 5. I fiend for the time lapse. That's my big problem, is I'm like, I gotta do a time lapse. So, it's like, I'll sometimes finish the painting early, because look, from a distance, things are working. Not completely, but somewhat. And yeah. All right, more highlight. There's a bit more of this going on here. We're going to take this and bleed it in. And then look, like, nice work on figuring out where the lash lines live, but did you ever really go in there and figure this out? Not really. Well, when we zoom out, you'll see what a difference that can make. Because actually the lash line there is this one. That's the longer of the two. And then zoom in. All this stuff gets blurred. What's the hardest aspect of painting a portrait? Man, that's a good question. I think that it's really piece by piece. Like, it's kind of like not getting too lost in the details where you don't have to. Because yes, I could pixel by pixel make sure that every little inch of this thing is perfect. Literally, I could say, this color hexadecimal lives at this XY coordinate, and I could copy it and paste it right there. But then it wouldn't really be a painting, and so anyway, you get into questions of what is art, but trying to stay away from all those questions and just answer your question. I think it's not getting lost, like trusting yourself to be brushy, trusting your brushwork and like saying, okay, that's fine, when it's fine, and knowing when it's not, and saying, that's not fine, that is distracting in a way that I don't like, and changing it. Technically, like specifically, there are pieces of the puzzle that are super hard. Like this cat's fur was a nightmare for me. Not a nightmare, but just like constant, like shadows, as I was saying earlier, like shadows on a cat. Like, look at how stupid the mouth is. Now you got me going again here. Look, I got to fix this. Shadows on a cat's fur are the same as shadows on a black leotard. The difference is they're so close to each other in value. Like, I can screw up all these shadow lines on her torso here, and you're never really going to see it. Yeah, see, so that's a question, right? Like, I never really got in here and filled in the canvas, and I could do that. But I don't want us to be looking at the cat as much as I want us to be looking at Taylor. So that's another question, another answer to your question about whether or not, like, what's the hardest part? Like, in other words, what do you leave fluffy and scruffy, and what do you refine? And at what point does refinement become overworking? And those questions are answered day to day. And as you grow as a portrait painter, you're gaining experience, and you should always be changing your you should this is a hard part of portrait painting, like where the tiniest little flick of the brush changes everything. That was a good example where I probably shouldn't have been talking. The under-refined cat, it reminds me of a giant cat painting in my house as a kid. Oh, really? It's hard to see those shadows. Yeah, because they're there, but you can't hit them with a hammer. You have to hit them. You have to go after them with a scalpel. You can get away with hitting some things with a hammer. So yeah, cool. So you had like a scruffy, like sort of brushy, abstract cat painting in your house. That's cool. The under-refined is a nice contrast. Yeah, and then what happens is when you look at the picture from a distance like this, you start to say, well, am I going to be distracted by the choppy hair? I mean, it's cool to have painterly wild hair, but now that her head is being so refined, do I need to then go in and soften edges in the hair? And yes, the answer is yes. I just don't have a lot of experience with it because between you and me, when I was a painting student, I just wanted to paint the face. And I didn't, the hair was kind of like I never paid attention in hair class and I never paid attention in body class. So, and certainly never painted any cats or dogs. So, you've unlocked an important question, I think, for me, which is how much of this is me being inexperienced in certain things? And in part by having these weekly, daily paintings to do makes me run up against issues that I maybe didn't want to admit that I had, if that makes sense. So it's exposing my vulnerabilities as an artist, or my weaknesses. So okay. And here I am getting into Mr. Kitty. This is ChatGPT confirmed. Benjamin Button is the name of the cat. Okay. So yeah, we could go nuts and refine that cat perfectly, but then would it look like a painting? At least what I would do is I quickly zip across and I say, is this thing done? Is that thing done? And you could say to yourself, no, it's not. Look here. Looky here. Whoa, that was weird. I don't know what I just did there, but like here. Whoops, no. We get over here and then blur in both directions and just break up that edge, it's called. You take a brush with similar colored paint and you break the edge up so that it blurs, and the more blurred, the better. Like, look here, we don't need this. Whoops, I don't want that either. So you can see little areas as the thing gets more and more done, things jump out that shouldn't be there. Like, look to the left of her mouth. Look at the left of Taylor's mouth here. We've got, this is too sharp. It's just, there's a river of light that bleeds through here, and we break up that edge. Okay, maybe not perfectly, and we might have to come back to it again and again, but you need to, as things come into more focus, you begin to see things that are wrong. And leaving some things wrong that's the art, right? Like, that's what people want to see. They don't want to see a photo. I mean, it looks like a fur coat collar, so it works as an accessory kind of thing. Yes, definitely. I agree with that. And the refinement of the figure and the leotard and everything so polished that to have the hair and the cat acting as that texture, and then the refined head, it's a great photo. I mean, I like it. All right, here, speaking of refinement, look at the nose. we don't want to lose this, but we can find I've been using ChatGPT to help me develop writing ideas. It's useful for figuring out details I wouldn't think of, although it also tends to be too generic. But I've heard other writers downplay it as a bad thing. I'm with you. Like, it's like copying it's like having a teacher, right? I mean, very cool to think of that. Like, well, in this writer uses descript, like, did you remember to describe whatever about the scene? It like gives you basic ideas of what to describe. Now, yeah, should we all be learning to not forget to describe those things in the first place? Probably, but it's too tempting, right? I don't know. It's too seductive using that crutch. Because what's going to happen when nobody remembers to do that without asking ChatGPT, and it becomes this like meta apocalypse? But I use ChatGPT for like design projects or whatever. I use AI for design projects. I haven't really been able to use it in painting, but I do actually have some ideas for how to do that. And I hope those sort of come to life soon. Like, a big example is using oh gosh, what happened? Did I get her nose right? Not really. I think I'm too far over. No, you know what's happening? Here. Let's go. LFG. Have you used any of the art AI tools? I tried for fun, and it's pretty frustrating. I have definitely used them. I had at one point like the mega subscription, and in fact, I need to be careful that I cancel it because it's expensive. And definitely used it, and hang on, let's make sure we get this blasting away here. Soften that edge. Just a happy little accident here. Just find out where that highlight lives. All right. Yes, I've used that tool, and I found it frustrating in some ways. What was frustrating about it for you? Here, let's find this happy little accident here. See, look at this. It's a reverse check mark. It goes shunk shunk, and then over here, you see, it goes shunk, and then. Now, is that correct? I don't know, but it's better. Teeth, still. Dude, let's get the teeth. Let's get on the teeth train. Nice teeth. Why not paint them? It's kind of like young Taylor a little bit more right now. Lower lip here. If you get too radical, the outputs look atrocious, or else everything has a generic look. Like, what if I want a character facing backwards? Nope. Oh, interesting. You get either standing or sitting. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't really explore that side of it. What I would do would be like, imagine James Hetfield as if, imagine what would happen if Caravaggio painted Samus Aran. Like those are the challenges. And because oil portrait painting has a rich tradition, they know exactly where to find that data. And that's pretty much all I did with it for a long time. And then I was just like, all right, maybe we should just do that ourselves. We can't leave the teeth like that. We just can't do it. Let's find... Yeah, there are definitely people making those mixed scenarios. I'm not sure how they do it. I did like He-Man figure of guitar player from Fish. That was pretty successful for my purposes. But things like that, have you seen the videos that bring old photos to life? Yes. Yeah, I like that stuff. Pretty crazy. Yes, and like 1800s stuff, and I'm definitely a fan of all that stuff. I think one thing that I found with it was like once I saw what it could do, I was sort of like, okay, that's not interesting anymore. I got bored of it. It's like listening to a pop song. It's like listening to a Taylor Swift song. No offense to anyone who finds re-listening value in it. I can re-listen to Taylor many, many times, but there comes this point where it's like, oh, there's nothing new being learned here. But the initial hit of the music is extremely powerful, but then it fades for me. Unlike certain other groups, like, I don't know, I mentioned Metallica, like I could listen to those albums many, many times and still find replay value. So I think that, and the difference, I don't know, I can't finish that analogy effectively, but it's like how much replay value is there to looking at AI images? Like when they do the pancake house, it's like, okay, it's a pancake house. It's perfect. Next. I don't know. You know what I mean by that? Where they show like a stack of pancakes that's sort of like oozing with butter and syrup, and it's someone's house ostensibly. I do like the cozy rooms thing, where it's like they show like a nighttime scene in a cozy house. Okay, look, guys, I think, yes, AI feel exactly. And that, if you're not like a visual person, you don't care, right? I don't think you do. Your subconscious might be aware, and we hope so. But when it comes to just flicking a like on social media, you're gonna not care that it feels the same because it's more, I don't know, it's like conceptual. So it's obviously not going anywhere, but there's a lot of things out there like that. Like, as an artist, I see artist videos where it's like somebody is like, "Oh my God, God give you this talent," like, and they're being, it's all earnest. It's like not, but these paintings are just not in the tradition of. I would have to show you the example I meant, but like people basically driven to tears and religious conversion over a painting, which, in my snobby, sorry to be a snob, but it's crap. Like it's just, he's splattering paint all over something. And sorry, I'm going to lose. I know I'm going to lose. I'm going to alienate people when I say this, but I know what he's doing because I could do, not I can do that too. I don't. This is not. By the way, this is not abstract art that I'm talking about. I'm talking about a portrait that's kind of. He's got a beautiful rendering of like a face, and then in the background he like throws all this stuff all over it, and it's like, okay, you're a photorealist, not a very good one. You made the face, and then you sprinkled sort of stuff all over the outside, and then like he pulls the tape off, and it shows like what he didn't paint or something, and everyone's like, oh, it's like open weeping in the comments section. And I'm kind of like, I might sound jealous, and in some ways it is. It's like I wish in some ways sorry, Zeldavania, are you hearing me? I don't want to are you sensing the jealousy here, or are you understand? Are you with me? I don't want to alienate anybody. So yeah, I would have to show you the particular piece and define why. I do think there's stuff that there's quantifiable BS out there. There is. I mean, and I can only really say that being somebody who's studied this, like, I could say I'm a doctor of this, so I know when it's fake or real. And of course, there's somebody out there who's going to say, forget you. We love it. And that's totally true and valid. But anyway, I digress. I'm going on a rant. I also don't want to. I fully admit that there's jealousy over things that get thousands of likes on Facebook, and I'm kind of like, but what, I don't know. I can't deny that jealousy is there. But it's just like in my portrait painters group, who I'm streaming to right now. Hello, friends. I hope this doesn't alienate you, but if you do a painting of a beautiful woman with sparkly eyes, no matter how ill-wrought it is, it plays better than some kind of dark Caravaggio-esque painting of, someone else. So I guess what I'm saying is there is a mainstream that hits and hits many at the same time. And I think that's what AI can do. It can hit everyone at once from a distance. It's like a nuclear charge, and it works. It works on me because I'm like, oh, wait, that guy looks good. And then you look closely at what it actually is, and you're like, oh, I see. I get that. I know what he's doing. It's BS. There's no soul to this. Yeah, there are many people like that, and I would never be able to find him again, but I don't think I would, because it's not really, but it was just, I'm getting a lot more of those sorts of things. By the way, I have to say, I finally knocked through my fear here of this painting, and I owe it to you guys for helping me break through, and with the chat and stuff. I just I couldn't have done it without you. I was losing my mind somewhat, and then whoa, I like that. Why did I lose that? No, come on. Don't get cocky, kid. So, yeah, I think like there is soulless art out there. And I know that there are people there who are going to say, that's the whole point. He's tricking everyone. No, it's not. Because he dances around while throwing the paint everywhere like a total chump, and he's like, the music is this like epic kind of, and you're like, come on, man. You can't pull the wool over my eyes. I noticed a lot of Discord groups I've been in banned AI art, and I didn't get why. Then I realized a lot of people make commissions making fan art, so of course they feel threatened. But AI can't touch the customization they can accomplish. Absolutely, I agree. It's getting there. I mean, I have to say that my portrait painters group hates AI. That's a whole other discussion, I think, whether or not AI is deserves to be quashed by quote unquote real human artists. Does it deserve all of this backlash and outrage? I don't think so, because in the end, if you can paint, do it. And it's not about, but yeah, you make a living off of it, and then AI takes your jobs. But somebody put this very well to me the other day, and I forget who said it, but somebody said, the whole point of AI should be to free our time up so that we can do this stuff. Not to do it for us. Use AI to make more money for everybody so that we can paint. And instead, what do? We say, paint something, haha, wow. It's like bizarre, but, I think it's like so many art phases of, is it art? Sorry, I'm beginning to think you dislike the guy more than Linda. That's a great face-off. We'll have to revisit that confrontation. All right, wait a minute, Guys, I'm 15 minutes past the buck, and I'm getting a call I need to work out. But I'm gonna do a pause here, and then I'm gonna get back in. And tomorrow I'm gonna finish the eye on the right. Sorry, I liked what one speaker said. Can't remember her name. I don't want AI to do art so I can spend time doing laundry. I want AI to do laundry so I can do art. Exactly. That's totally it. So tomorrow I've got the eye on the right, continue to work on the mouth. The teeth are huge. The highlights in the eyes need to be succinct. The eyebrow on the left. I mean, it goes on and on. I can get that head really going tomorrow. Thank you, Zeldavania, and thanks everybody for watching. I'm going to do a raid because I'm interested in just sort of getting my name out there somewhat. How do I do that? I go /raid. No, I can't do that there. I do it here. First of all, thank you, Facebook and YouTube, for joining.